is up, guys? EJ here, back with another video, and today it's going to be my Blu-ray DVD update for May 8th, 2014. So I've got 6 new Blu-rays to show you, all from 2012. Yes, I'm finally finishing up my wish list of movies from 2012. Let's get started. Up first, we have probably the biggest box office flop of that year, and that is John Carter, or as Scott Sinoram prefers, John Carter of Mars, as it's properly titled. Yeah, a film that was poorly marketed and did not do very well, but I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was a really interesting film. Loads of fun, loads of great action. I like the bookends of the movie that takes place in the I believe it's the 1800s or something like that. And I thought Taylor Kitsch was pretty good. And when he gets to Mars, I thought it was really cool the way that the way he moves and the way he sort of jumps around on Mars because of the difference in the gravity that he's used to on Earth. I thought that was done really well. Yeah, the story about the warring factions and the Thorks or whatever, the weird creatures, it gets a little complicated, but I'm always interested in stuff about the planets and sort of space exploration and this sort of, quote, lost, unknown history of Mars, what maybe could have happened in a sort of weird scientific, fantastic kind of way. There's more to it than just it being a movie, in my opinion. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. John Carter, or JC of Mars. I know Scott was a big fan of this movie, and I liked it. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was pretty cool. It probably should deserve better. That's for sure. Okay, up next, all last year I was saying that 2012 was a really good year for crime movies, and this is definitely one of them that I fit in that category. And that is Killing Them Softly, starring Brad Pitt, Ray Liotta, James Gandolfini, the late great Richard Jenkins. Yeah, really cool film, sort of about the seedy side of the mob, the underworld. It's a very talky picture. There's not much action. It's got a lot of really interesting dialogue, great performances. It's basically about these two guys who heist up a like a protected card game, and everything goes wrong for them after that. Sort of like an episode from The Sopranos. There's actually an episode of The Sopranos which is basically exactly like this film, where two young punks think they can get away with robbing a card game, and it goes completely wrong for them. Yeah, really good performances. Great to see Gandolfini in one of his last roles. Richard Jenkins really good, and Brad Pitt really good. He has some of the best dialogue at the end of this film. Yeah, I thought it was cool. It's got a good look. Yeah, but it's a very interesting, sort of different crime film about the mob and the underworld. Yeah, cool film, Killing Them Softly. Okay, up next we have a documentary, and this one, luckily enough, came with a cool slipcover, and that is Side by Side. Film's narrated by Keanu Reeves. Funnily enough, I just watched 47 Ronin last night, which he was in last year. Okay movie. But yeah, he narrates this documentary about the sort of transition from regular film to digital movies and digital filmmaking. A host of interviews with directors. You can see all the names on there: James Cameron, George Lucas, Martin Scorsese, Steven Soderbergh, to name a few. David Fincher, Robert Rodriguez. Yeah, really interesting film about the differences between film and digital, and how much more cost effective it is to use digital these days, and as opposed to sort of the look and feel of film that some filmmakers still love. I mean, Tarantino is well known, well publicized that he hates new digital film, and he doesn't want to be making live TV, as he calls it, in the cinemas. Yeah, but really good, interesting documentary if you like film and filmmakers. Lots of great directors talk about it. It's all about the advancements in the cameras and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, so cool documentary about movie making side by side. Okay, up next, another good crime film from that year, and that is Stand Up Guys, starring Al Pacino, Christopher Walken, and Alan Arkin. Al Pacino has just gotten out of prison after about 20 years, and Christopher Walken is basically taking him out uh, for a night on the town, his last night before he has to kill him in the morning, because of what he did, what happened to the boss's son during their criminal days during a heist. I believe the son of the criminal mastermind gets killed during this heist, and he blames Al Pacino's character for it. Al Pacino didn't rat on his friends, but when he gets out of prison, he's going down, and Christopher Walken sort of battles with the idea of killing him the whole night as they go to a brothel like 3 or 4 times. They spend a lot of time in that brothel, and Al Pacino like sort of gets his rocks off, driving fast cars and chasing women, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a cool film. Really good cast. Alan Arkin great, as well as this old guy that they pull out of his wheelchair literally to come along for the ride. Yeah, 3 great actors. Love the ending. The ending's just awesome. Loads of fun. Christopher Walken always great. Al Pacino great as well. Stand Up Guys, really enjoyed it. Okay, up next, sequel to a really good film. The sequel's not nearly as good, and that is Taken 2. Of course, the father of one of the guys who gets killed in the first film, who took Liam Neeson's daughter in the first movie. One of the guys that Liam Neeson basically takes out when he's trying to get his daughter back, that he kills. The father wants revenge on Liam Neeson and his family, so he basically plots to kidnap Liam Neeson and his family when they go to Istanbul on vacation. Why would you go to Europe and a city like Istanbul after like a year later you've had this horrible experience with your daughter going missing and being abducted for basically sex slavery or whatever? Yeah, it makes no sense to me. But of course, he shows up with his daughter, played by Maggie Grace, and Famke Janssen as his wife. They get taken by this guy and his henchmen. Yeah, not as good as the first one. A lot of running around, a lot of yelling by Liam Neeson. If you watch Craig Ferguson, you know what I'm talking about. His impressions of Craig Ferguson, of Liam Neeson, are pretty funny. The only scene I really did like, which I thought was interesting, even though it's kind of ridiculous looking back on it, is when he first gets taken and imprisoned, and he's talking to his daughter on the phone, and she's like running across the rooftops in Turkey, and she's lobbing grenades around the city so he can hear them like land and blow up, so he can figure out where he is in relation to her and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was a pretty cool and interesting scene, but looking back on it, I was like, she has no regard for where she's throwing these grenades. I mean, what if they're exploding in like a big crowd of people in the middle of some market square in Istanbul? I'm like, that makes no sense at all. She's just throwing grenades like off these rooftops. I thought it was funny looking back on it. Yeah, definitely not as good as the first one, but still pretty cool. And I hear they're making a third one too in 2015. So yeah, that's Taken 2. Okay, last but not least, a film that hasn't really gotten talked about at all since it came out, and I kind of liked it, and that is The Words, with Bradley Cooper, Zoe Saldana, Dennis Quaid, Olivia Wilde, and Jeremy Irons. Yeah, a good film. Bradley Cooper plays a writer. He's had a successful first novel, and he's sort of struggling to find his next new big hit. And then he stumbles across this old manuscript that he finds in the satchel. It's from World War II era. It's this great romantic novel, and he passes it off as his own, as his new book. And then, of course, what's his name? I already forgot his name. Jeremy Irons is the guy who obviously wrote it. It's his work. he comes looking for Bradley Cooper, and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck? You stole my work." So yeah, it's an interesting sort of drama about writing and what Bradley Cooper, what lengths he's willing to go to sort of keep his success. Yeah, a good cast, obviously, some good actors in this. Pretty decent film. I thought I enjoyed it. So that is The Words. So that is my update. 6 Blu-rays from 2012. Finally finishing my wish list from that year. So now I'm on to, well, I've bought some movies from 2013 already, but I still got a lot to get through from this past year. So yeah, let me know what you think of these films, and if you've seen any of them, obviously. Thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see ya.
Bom.